Hey, welcome! Hello everyone! The user would select one or more polygons through the various types of selections I already explained previously in the suggestion select of polygons video. Please watch this video for in-depth explanation. And after the user made the selection, would go to the Polygons Group menu and choose the Create Polygons Group option, or would use a shortcut key. As you can see in this demonstration, the user would make the desired selection and then create Polygons Group through the menu or shortcut key. Just remember that each different color in the model would be a different Polygons Group, and if the user made multiple selections in different places and created the Polygons Group, the program would only create a Polygons Group with the same color. After the creation of the Polygons Group, the user would be able to do modeling through tools such as Extrude, Bevel, and other tools, or some other function related to sculpting. Another way the user could create Polygons Group would be through the Shape tool. This tool would insert a 2D shape into the surface of the mesh by splitting edges and triangles to form the shape in the mesh, and then it automatically creates Polygons Group. One important thing is that the Shape tool would not change the shape of the model, and the user would have full control over the size, rotation, and the location of the shape, as well as the amount of shapes that could be created on the surface of the mesh. The user through the different types of stroke modes could make a selection of polygons and could create a new 2D shape directly on the surface of the mesh by converting that selection of polygons into 2D shape, save it inside the shapes library, so the user could use it as a 2D shape. In the shape library, the user would be able to open a vector or image, and automatically the program would convert those files into 2D shapes so that they could be applied to the surface of the mesh. In this example, the user with the freeze brush could paint any area on the surface of the mesh and then could convert the freezed area to Polygons Group. For this, the user would go to Polygons Group menu and choose the Freeze Polygons Group option. Another way the user could create Polygons Group would be by painting the mesh surface in the paint room. After painting was finished, the user could convert this painting to Polygons Group, so the user would go to the Polygons Group menu and would choose the Paint Polygons Group option. As you can see, for each color that was used in the painting, the program converted each one into different Polygons Group. UV Polygons Group would be one more way that could create a new Polygons Group for each UV section of the model that is in a unique UV region. In this example, the head already has a UV where several islands have been created in this same UV region. In this case, the UV Polygons Group option would create only a single Polygons Group for the whole head. If the user had separated the islands into two regions of UVs, for each UV region a different Polygons Group would have been created in the head. The Auto Polygons Group with UV option would create new Polygons Group based on topology and UV continuity. This time, the user would choose this option that would create one Polygons Group for each island that would be part of the same UV region, as you can see in the head. The Generate Polygons Group option would automatically try to generate different Polygons Group in a mesh. The user could select the type of mode which would generate the Polygons Group. Edge Angle mode would randomly select a seed triangle and then would expand to all neighboring triangles where the change in triangle face normal would be less than the angle threshold. This process would be repeated with new randomly selected seed triangles until all triangles would have been assigned a Polygons Group. The normal angle mode randomly would select a seed triangle and then would expand to all neighboring triangles whose face normal deviates from the seed triangle face normal by less than the angle threshold. So, compared to added angle mode, this method would tend to create clusters that would be more localized. In the Generate Polygons group, there would be two properties that would be important for the user to control this automatic generation of polygons groups. The angle thresh slider would be used to define an angle in degrees, which would influence the selected clustering algorithm. The size thresh slider would be currently used to define a minimum triangle count for generated face groups. If a group would have a smaller triangle count than this number, it would be measured with a neighboring group. Note that this control could easily end up merging small but important polygons groups on low polycount meshes. Polygons groups could be created through the Slice Polygons Group option. This tool would cut the mesh edges to create new polygons group on one side of the plane, but it would not change the shape of the model. This tool would have two different modes. The first mode would be a plane with a gizmo of translation and rotation. The second mode would be a line that the user would create from one side, source, to the other side, destination, and then the plane would appear for the user to manipulate the gizmo of translation and rotation. The Clear Polygons Group option, as its name implies, would allow the user to select all polygons groups or only the polygons group desired to be deleted. This function would only be to clear the polygons groups that the user did not want, and would not delete any polygons of the mesh. In this demonstration, the user could create polygons group through the Smooth Boundary function. For this, the user would make a selection of polygons and apply the Smooth Boundary function. In the properties, there would be the option that the user would choose to create a new polygons group, if desired.